Okay, we are supposedly streaming. I'm going to confirm that. This is unlisted, so nobody's actually going to be seeing this live, but I can go and see if it's live on my page, at least. You know, I should have a Roost wallpaper. That'd be nice. Do I have one? Oh, I don't have it added. We're gonna go Roost brand components. We'll do the light one. I like the light one. Ooh, and choose the light background. Or the yellow accent color. There we go. Hey, look at that. Now it looks branded a little bit. So I like to do this for streams. Yeah, this is just testing. This is not the exact setup I will have. I'll have better assets and stuff, but I just wanted to test the basics of my microphone and speedrun setting up Coop on a Codespace, and doing a little bit of a demo of Coop. So it looks like trying to find where it actually shows the unlisted stream on my account. Your channel? No, it's unlisted. I guess I got to go to the studio, YouTube studio. Here we go. Stream. Roost test is live. Okay. We are live. Except it says it's not. Oh, here we go. It's loading. Okay, maybe it's just slow. Okay, we're good. We're good. And my alarm's going off. So, note to self: mute alarms when you stream. Okay. Excuse me. All right. I'll practice this more. Don't worry. So what I'm going to do today is show. I'm going to try to speedrun getting Coop, which is the open source review moderation dashboard from Roost. I'm going to try to speedrun getting it set up in a GitHub Codespace. And I'm going to drink some water while I do that. And testing out this little streaming setup and see how it goes. And then we can also demo a little bit of Coop. So I have my local docs here pulled up as a guide. But first I'm going to go to github.com/codespaces. And I know the resolution on here is a little high, so I might zoom in a bit. And I'm going to create a new code space to actually start this from scratch. Let's see here. I'm going to select a repository. Now, if you're not, it's actually a good question. If you're not on the Roost org, which most people trying to demo this probably are not, you'll probably have to fork Coop onto your own account, and then you'll be able to choose it in this dropdown, in this repository dropdown. And let's see. And for this branch, I'm actually going to try, there's a, I have an app proto demo branch. This is just going to help. It's tracking the main branch, but it's just going to help us get a demo up and running so we can look at it. And US West is the closest. You'll want to choose your closest if it doesn't choose the right one. And I'm going to do the weakest little machine here just to prove it can be done. Actually, I guess trust me, it can be done. I'm going to choose slightly higher cores and RAM just so that it speeds up a bit while we do it. But it can be run on the lowest code space type, machine type. So then you'll hit create code space, and what it's going to do is pop you into your unique URL for your code space. And this is basically a virtual machine running on GitHub's infrastructure. So it's like a virtual server for you, and it's going to open right up into VS Code, which is a code editor with a terminal that's running right on that server. So out of the box, you'll see the README gets previewed, and then at the bottom, you'll see your terminal. On the left, you have all your files, like in the sidebar. On the right, you have a sidebar that you can hide with little buttons at the top right. Okay, so I'm going to just try following some of the documentation we have. And what I'm going to do, actually, it'll be more useful is if I split split between these two. So I have the documentation kind of off on the side, and then I have my code space here on the right. That way, I can hide the files for now too. So this documentation might be a little different by the time you're actually demoing this, but you can always find the latest documentation at roostorg.github.io/coop, and that will show you all the versions of documentation that we have, all this, like the actual stable releases, or in this case unstable, but the actual releases that we've tagged, and then the main branch is always going to be under latest. So you can choose which one matches what you're deploying, or if you just want the latest main, you can choose latest. In this case, I am actually using a local copy of my docs because there are some changes I haven't pushed yet because I'm not done rewriting it, but that's where you can find it. Okay, so we have our code space. We're in the workspaces/Coop folder. So this is the root folder's Coop, and it's showing us what branch we're on, which is, in my case, Cassidy James /@protodemo. And we're gonna crank up the size a little bit so it's easier to read. But I am just gonna follow this guide. I will say, I guess the very first thing, there is some local development information here about prerequisites. I'm gonna run this, and I probably should add this to the docs too. Just to make sure we're on the right version of Node and everything. So you can run nvm install, and we'll run nvm use. Oh, nvm use. So it's checking which version of Node is defined by the Coop project as the version we want, and it's making sure that we're actually using that when we use npm in this project. I need a mute button so I can clear my throat off mic. Okay, and other than that, we can go back to our, oops, oh, that was an interesting thing that it did there. It went back in the code space. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to go back in the docs. Okay. While this loads, we can go back to our getting started guide in the docs here, which is just the development guide. And we should just be able to run npm run up to start the backing services. No, I don't want. Yeah, sometimes VS Code will pop up little things with suggestions. You usually don't need them, but sometimes it's helpful. So what this is doing right now, this is actually running Docker Compose up. So it's looking at the Docker file in the project. Let me pull up the Docker file. It's looking at the Docker Compose, and it's actually going to pull all the correct images down and run all of the backing services to get them running. So there's Redis, Scylla, ClickHouse, Hotel Collector, Jaeger, and Postgres. Which provide basically the database, the queuing system, the analytics system on the back end. So all of those are going to start here. Actually, I realized I missed a step. I guess, yeah, this is fine to run this to start. But we do want, we need to copy our environment files here. So I'm going to open a new tab. There's a new terminal button here. Which you can just pop a new tab here. You can also like right click up here on these tabs where the text editor is and do a new terminal up there if you want it split vertically, but I like it down here. So I can have my text editor up there. I'm going to copy the environment files. So this is basically, we have some example environment files for the database, the server, and the client. And those all just need to be copied from the example file to just .env in each of those folders. And that's just, it provides, for demoing or for just local development, the defaults are fine. So we'll just copy those. So we're going to do cp, which is copy. We're going to do db/.env, and you can hit tab to autocomplete path names and command names since it's a bash terminal. Here's one of those pop-ups telling me that the application is running. But we're going to copy db/.env .example to db/.env without the example in the end. So it's just saying copy the example file to the non-example. And you'll see if we go to the db folder here, you'll see that we have, where'd it go? Oh, up at the top. The .env.example is here, and it has, basically it's saying the database is running on the same host. It's using this port. Here's the default username and password. And then you'll see the .env file. It's grayed out in the sidebar because it's git ignored because we don't want anybody accidentally pushing real credentials but that's why you have to copy it, and it's just not included out of the box. So we're going to do the same thing with client and server. So by the way, you can hit up, since you're in the bash terminal here, you can hit up and it will show you the previous command that you typed. That way you can just not have to retype all of it. So we're going to do server. It helps if you spell it right. Server and server. And then finally client and client. So just setting up those environment files with the correct demo defaults. Client. Okay, now that we have those, I'm going to check in on our other terminal. There's this sidebar on the right here. And by the way, these instructions should be really similar if you're running this actually locally on like a Linux machine or probably on macOS as well. Whether you're using VS Code and using the terminal here, or if you're using just like a different, like actual just bash terminal or different shell. But I am using VS Code since it's on Codespaces, and it's a nice way to demo it. Okay, so our npm run up, and if you scroll here in VS Code, it shows you the last command that was run at the very top. It kind of pins it up at the top, makes it sticky, so you can see what's going on. So it looks like it finished. Npm run up, so the backing services should be running. You can also always check this by running docker ps. Now it's like really wide, so it's going to look horrible in this view, but you can see if I hide my sidebar, if I hide, we'll zoom out, I guess. It's supposed to all be this really long thing on one line, but it shows the container ID. You can see it's like a table format. It's probably too hard to see on the stream actually, but you can see the container ID, the name of the image, the command it's running, when it was created, and its current status. So what we're hoping to see is healthy, healthy, and healthy on these three that have the health checks. Just because it says healthy, it doesn't mean it's actually done doing everything it needs to do. So sometimes if you get things up and running and it says healthy, but it's only been a minute, you might need to wait a little longer for the databases to be actually running. But yeah, that looks good for now. I'm going to zoom back in and continue on with the getting started guide. So we ran the backing services, we copied our environment files. Now we're going to actually install dependencies. So here, again, I'm looking at what folder I'm in. I'm in the Coop folder, which is like the root of the project. I'm going to run npm install. And I can go ahead and open in my other terminals. I'm going to go into server. I guess I need to do all three of these. Yeah, I'm going to go into, I guess, database. I always like to think of it database because the server depends on the database and then the client depends on the server. So database, server, and then client. So I'm going into database here, and I'm going to run npm install here. I'm going to open a new terminal. And in this one, I'm going to go into server. And I'm doing cd for change directory. That's just how you go into the next folder. So I'm going into the server folder, and I'm going to run npm install here. And again, I'm going to open one more terminal, lots of terminals. I'm going to go into the client directory, and I'm going to npm install here. So I'm installing all of the different dependencies for each of these three components, because these three components can run independently. They don't have to all be running. They're three different projects essentially in the one big project. So they could be running on different hosts in a real like a real in production deployment. For demoing, it's all running on the same machine, but you still have to install things separately. And I can check up on these. It looks like DB installed just fine. Server is in the middle of installing, and client is still installing as well. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's something I can do while we wait. There's not a whole lot we can do. Because next we're going to create the databases and run migrations, but I want to make sure all the dependencies and everything are completely installed. So maybe this is always a good time to go get a cup of coffee or something. Oh, it looks like server is done installing here as well. So that's good. Found 0 vulnerabilities. Been doing a lot of work on vulnerability. What's the word I'm looking for? Mitigation, I guess, in dependencies. It's a pretty complicated project with lots of dependencies. There's been a lot of work to go through all of those dependencies, make sure we're on the newest versions and the best versions. And client is also installed. Okay, so we're good. So all of our backing services are running. All of our dependencies are installed. Now we're going to create the databases and run migrations. So running migrations, the way I understand it, I'm not the type of developer who has actually written most of this code. I've just fixed a few little things here and there. But the way I understand it is the migrations also can do things like setting up the right, like creating actions for the different organizations. Like if we create a new action in Coop that's available to all organizations, running that migration will then go in and make sure that all the correct fields and things are in those tables in the database. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just going to copy this whole big block here. I could run it one by one, but I can just copy it and run it all at once. But what it's essentially doing is npm run db create, and then it's doing a staging environment, and it's creating the different servers that we need, or the different databases that we need. And then it's going to run the migrations on those. It's running db update on each of those same databases. So I copied all of that. I'm going to paste it in here and run it. Actually, wait, before I do that, I'm hitting Control-C to cancel what I was doing before I hit Enter. I'm in the client folder here, and I don't want to do it in the client folder. I want to do it from the top level, so I'll do it there. Paste. And this will take a few minutes as well. So this is going to run through and actually create my databases, run migrations, get everything ready to go for us. Something fun you can do, again, this works on Codespace or on your local machine, depending on what you have installed. In another terminal, like, if I was on my computer and I wanted to make sure things were working, I might open like a process viewer, like a system monitor. If you're in the terminal, you can run htop if it's installed, and it'll give you a nice little visual like process manager here. If htop is not installed on your local machine, top might be. That's another one. It's a little less pretty, but it also works. I like htop because it shows the different cores of the machine and the memory, which is helpful when you're running on a Codespace to see, like, are you spiking the CPU, and is that why things are slow? But it looks like we're done actually running, creating the databases and running the migrations here. So we should be good to go. Next, we're going to create the organization. So Coop, because it can technically serve multiple organizations, you have to create an organization, give it a bunch of like information about, the name of the org, the email address, the website, and that gets populated into the front end from the database. And so we can just run npm run create org. This is one of those things that's technically this is in the server server folder. So you can cd into the server folder, or if you have a server terminal running, you can go there and run npm run create org. And if you run it without any arguments, what it's going to do the first time is actually show you what the required arguments are for running it. So it'll tell us, I'm not sure why it's saying so long here, but it'll actually tell us, hey, you need to pass in these flags. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so yeah, it's saying missing required arguments: name, email, website, first name, last name, password. So for this, we're going to do, I'm going to hit up again to just have that npm run create org there. And to pass flags in, you have to do these two dashes. So it's npm run create -org space -- space, and then you can do the flags. So we're going to say name, which is the name of the org. We're going to call this demo org. Email, we're going to say, whoops, I actually hit enter, so it's going to complain about not having all the right flags here. The joys of a live stream. Okay, it's going to complain about, wait. So again, I'm hitting up because I can just show the thing that I already typed. So yeah, npm run create org. Name is demo org. Email is going to be, I'm going to do demo@example.com. Oh my goodness. Did I hit enter again? I'm on a new keyboard, and it is, I'm still getting used to it. There we go. Email demo@example.com. Website, so -- website. I'm doing a space, and then I'm putting these things in quotes. Website, I'm going to do https://example.com. Again, this doesn't really matter. It's just a demo, but this is going to run all the correct database commands to insert this into the database. And then next is first name. So this is for the admin the first admin user's name, and I'm going to put demo and dash dash last name. I'm going to put add. Oh my goodness, nope. Sorry, hitting enter. It is right next to the quote key that I keep hitting. Last name is going to be admin. And finally, we need password. Password is going to be super secure test password 123. What? Okay. Then I'm going to hit enter. And so now it's actually going to run the correct thing here. So it's running, it's inserting this into the database, creating a new organization, and then it's creating a new admin user with the information that I passed in. And once this completes, it'll actually spit out some information for us. And this is a demo. You wouldn't normally want to share this on a stream or in a video, but this is a demo, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm going to copy this into just like a text file for myself because it is handy to have. Actually, what I could do is I could just paste it in here. And this is a non-saved file, but it's just a place that I can paste it, so I can reference it later while I'm getting things set up. You would not want to save this in your project folder. It's an API key, which means anybody with this, it's like the secret for actually sending things to the Coop API. Again, since this is a demo, not very high stakes. Okay, so we've created the organization, and now there's this one other thing. We have to copy some static assets. It's just a command. You go make sure you're in the server folder, which we already are, and then you npm run copy assets. This basically is it's setting up the front end client assets, I believe. Okay, that was simple enough. Okay, and then we actually need to run the application. So again, we have these different terminals for the database, the server, and the client. Only actually need these first two, the client and the server. So we're in server, so I'm gonna run npm run start, and that will start our server. This will take a minute to come up because it's gonna try talking to the database, and then it will actually tell us that it started, and it'll tell us what port it's on, which I believe should be 8080 by default. And then after that, okay, so found 0 errors, that's great. There we go, server is running. Your application is running on port 8080, and then since that's the API server, we don't actually want to open that up in the browser right now. And then for the client, we're going to jump over to the client terminal. Same thing here. We're going to run npm run start. Oh, you can't. I just realized you can't see that little pop up in the bottom right because that's where my face is. But what it's saying right now is your application running on port 3000 is available, and we should be able to hit open in browser, and it's going to connect to that port for us. Now, if you're demoing this with somebody who's not authenticated, I believe you have to make that port and possibly the 8080 port public, which I can show you how to do that now, just as long as we're here. So back in your Codespace, if you go to ports, it'll show you a list of all the different ports that are being used. Most of these are like things that are running on the local machine of the GitHub Codespace and talking to each other. So you don't have to make them like publicly, and you don't want to make them publicly accessible. But the API server is running on 8080, and then the client is running on 3000. So we're going to go ahead and just make those public just to prevent any issues here. How do I do that? Oh, there's chain or port visibility, public. Same with 3000, port visibility, public. So now that should be everything we need. If I jump back over here, look at that, Coop is running. And we can log in with the example information I shared, which I'm going to actually note that. Oh, it is noted here, yeah. The password is not, which is fine because it's test password 123, I think is what I said. We're going to try it out. So we're going to say demo at example.com, test password 123. And look at that. I'm going to save this for this domain so that I remember what I set the password to. And look at that. We have Coop running. So out of the box, Coop is, there's no data being fed into it right now, but the front end and the database and the server side are all running. We can take an opportunity here to create our item types. So if you go to settings, remember we're logged in as an admin right now. So if you go to settings, go to item types, this is where you could manually set up different kinds of content. So like, for example, I'm going to do a demo with @proto. We could set up the @proto post. We could set up what a thread is. We could set up what a user is. But for this demo, I actually have a script to do some of this for us. So I'm going to do that. We go back to our terminal, and just at the root terminal here, I'm going to run, remember how to do this. I'm going to run npm, I think this is actually in the server side, in the server folder I need to go. So in the server, cd server, npm run @proto : setup. And this is where the files are as of right now. This might change in the future, but this is for my demo branch. So yeah, it's going to run the setup script, which is just a simple script, like a standalone thing that's going to basically set up the item types that we need for us, so we don't have to do that manually. And yeah, it's telling us that we need to pass in the organization ID. So that's why we have that up here, org ID. I'm going to copy that. When you copy and paste from the terminal, you might have to do Control-Shift-C and Control-Shift-V, but it might depend on your platform. If you're on Windows or Linux or Mac OS, that's what it is on Linux anyway. Okay, so we're going to run, I'm going to hit the up arrow to have that autofill, the npm run @proto setup. I'm going to do those double dashes again so I can pass in some arguments. I'm going to pass in org-id, and then I'm going to pass in my, oops, it doesn't like my clipboard. I have to actually explicitly tell it to paste. Okay, I'm going to pass in that org ID that it output when I created my org. And then what this should do is create our item types for us. Takes a moment, but should work. Great. I'm also going to copy these. You can also right-click and copy, which I end up doing a lot in the terminal. Also just copying those into my little scratch pad up here, so I have them for reference. But this is the actual item type ID for the user and the post, which you can see those in Coop. If you go into Coop, actually if we reload this page now, this is kind of cool. We'll be looking at item types, and this is after the script is run, so we have an @proto post, and we also should have an @proto user. So yeah, you can always come back here and copy the ID from the Coop user interface, but I have it here for reference. And I have my API key here, so I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in here for this command, and then I'm going to copy this command. That's just my way of composing that command a little bit more easily. Annoyingly, this script is not in the server folder, so you have to actually go up a folder. So you go cd space ... to go up, and then you can run your npm run @proto demo. It has some more flags too. I'll actually show you what those are real quick, because for this demo I might want to change some things. If you go into scripts, so I opened up the little file sidebar here. If you go into scripts, you will see @proto demo. And this will have, at the very top actually, it tells you the different options that you have. You have languages that you can pass in, comma-separated values. So by default, I don't want to demo every language. I think just English will be fine for this demo. So I'm going to add that to the end of my command down here in the terminal. So I'm going to do --langs space and then en for English. The rate limit defaults to 100 posts per minute. I think that's fine as we get up and going. I might actually lower that when I'm demoing it more long term, but to get some stuff populated, that's a good starting point. And everything else should be the defaults. I've got the API key, I've got the post type ID, everything else should be defaults, so we should be good. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this and switch away from it because it will show you the raw fire hose from the Blue Sky or the app protocol fire hose with Blue Sky posts. And so it's completely unfiltered. It's anything anybody's posting before it's gone through any sort of filter. So you don't always want to show that on a stream. So I'm going to run that. I'm going to switch over to another tab. You can also right click on these little server or these terminal things on the over here. Oops. And you can right click and rename them. So I'm going to say fire hose for there. It'll also show you what directory it's in, which is nice for keeping track of things. So now that that's running, we have actual data coming in to Coop. But it's not doing anything because we don't have any rules or anything. So some of the things that we're going to want to do, first, I want to make sure my actions are set up here. I think they should be. Yeah. We have these in queue for manual review actions, which are defaults. I'm going to create an action, which this is kind of silly, but it's a create not safe for demo action. And we're going to say this can be for both posts and users. And for the callback URL, when you're demoing, I'm just sending it to dev null. I think you can actually put anything in there. It's a required thing, but it doesn't actually validate anything. I guess I can explain what this page is doing here. So actions in Coop, basically when Coop wants to take action on an item of some sort, whether it's a post or a user or a thread or something, it is going to, like once that action has been executed, whether it's automatically or by a reviewer in the review console, it's going to send a request to this callback URL. So this would be like your internal API for deleting posts or for flagging things or whatever it is, whatever your actions are that make sense for your platform. This is where it's going to send it, and then you can put in the correct headers and body of that request. For this demo, it's not going anywhere, so I'm just putting dev null, but you could put whatever you want in there. And parameters are if you have actions that require like some extra information with them, then whether it's like a drop down or a number or something, you can actually add this. So when a human reviewer in the review console says do this action, they'll have to enter in this parameter in order for that action to work. So we're gonna not do that right now, but that's what that is. So we're gonna create this action. It was successfully created. Great. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm also gonna go to under automated enforcement, I'm going to matching banks. So what I'm doing, why I put a not safe for demo, basically I don't want certain stuff showing up, especially if I'm streaming something or recording something. So I'm going to create a text bank with a bunch of terms that I know I don't want showing up on a stream. And actually to do this, I'm going to pull this down off of my main screen here so that you don't see it. I guess I can show you up until that point. I'll show you what it looks like. So we're creating a text bank because we're just going to do some simple text matching, and we're going to say not safe for demo, terms we don't want to show on a demo stream. We're going to do a string matching instead of a regular expression because that's fine. And then we're going to put in, so we can put in a bunch of words here. So like if you type something and hit enter, it turns into like a tag. So I'm going to take this off the screen for a moment so I can enter some of these things that I don't want. I'm going to confirm that we're not showing on the stream. Yeah. I'm going to show this things I don't want showing on a stream. This is where I wish I had some way to import and export these things, because this is not the most interesting thing to watch right now. I probably could add that to the script or something too, but what else do I want in here? It's just based on things that I have seen when demoing that I don't want. What else? That's probably good. Again, still we'll put the caveat out there that things might show up that we don't want, but I have a decent list of words and terms here. Let's add a few more actually that I thought of. Okay, I'm going to create that text bank. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't show. Yeah, we should be able to pull that back up here now. Oops. Okay, so terms we don't want to show on a demo stream is there as a bank of text. So then what we can do is we can say proactive rules. We're going to create a rule. We're going to name this not safe for demo. Ignore things we don't want on stream. And item types, I'm going to say this applies to both posts and users. And we're going to say if any text in the item contains a variant, so this is actually showing the signals right now. These are both, there's some built-in integrations, and then this is where third-party integrations would also show. It's showing the OpenAPI ones. I don't have that configured. It's also showing Zentropy, but I don't have it configured, so it's not allowing me to select it. But built into Coop, we have this text variant, which if you click the little arrow, will tell you more information. It does things like homoglyphs, which is similar characters, and repeating letters and things. So it should match any of the terms that you have as like a substring, and it should also match variants of them. So if people are putting an @ for an A or whatever. So I want to use this signal. So if any text in the item contains a variant of our not safe for demo text bank, then I am going to say perform the not safe for demo action, which just, in our case, just ignores it. So we don't have to look at it. There's no policies. I'm going to go ahead and make this live. So at the very least, we should have the fire hose sending stuff into Coop, and then we should have things that we really don't want showing in a demo being filtered out. We can look at the overview here now. There's a little bit of a delay between when actions happen and then the actual analytics start showing up. But as things come in, I guess while we wait for that, let's do some more setup. So let's pretend this is just an imaginary scenario. Let's pretend that we want to say that no pets are allowed on our platform. So I'm going to create a queue where our human reviewers would be reviewing posts that got reported as having pet-related content. So we're going to say this queue is pets, content related to house pets. And reviewer access, right now there's only the admin, but if you created more users, you would add them in here if they have access. And hidden actions, we don't actually want the not safe for demo action to show up for the queues, so we're going to add that there. Great. On this review console page, you can hide columns. I know I'm kind of zoomed in here, so it's scrolling off the side. I don't need the ID to show up here. I also don't need the... actually, that's fine. That makes it look nice here. Okay, so we have a pets queue, and we also want now some policies. So we're going to create a new policy, and these would be like your platform policies. So we have a no pets allowed policy, and this definition would be your actual policy that would help your reviewers take action on items. So it's going to be very short here, but we're going to say content directly related to common house pets is strictly not allowed and must be hidden from public timelines, something like that. You could have, this has like rich formatting, so you can do markdown or just like keyboard shortcuts for putting lists of things. So if you had specific information you wanted to include here, you could do that. You can also add enforcement guidelines, which this is helpful for if you had like cat information about cats specifically. You could say content directly referencing cats is not allowed. House pet cats is not allowed. However, common phrases, including cat references. Let me guess, cat references are. And you could say examples. You could have, I love my kitty. And this would be not allowed. I can bold that by highlighting it and hitting Control B. Or I could say allowed. I'm using Markdown here. That's interesting, and it like does it bold. Allowed would be like they let the cat out of the bag by saying that. I don't know. These are bad examples. I'm not a policy person. You can also do Markdown for like headings in here. Yeah, sure. That's good for now. I'm getting too caught up in the actual text here, but you would want this to be your actual whole platform policy with all the nuance and everything, because it's going to show in the review queue for reviewers to be able to reference, which is nice. Let's see. So we have, we don't have any actions for reviewers to actually take. We made that like demo action, the not safe for demoing action, but let's actually make, let's say that our platform supported hiding a post. Posts are not shown in public timelines, let's say. And for this, since it's about posts, we're only going to select a post. And we're going to say, again, this is just a demo. We're not actually sending this anywhere. And we're going to say create. Okay. And we could also create one that is suspend user. The user will be unable to post for whatever, 7 days. I don't know. Whatever makes sense for your actual platform here. Again, this is not actually going to do anything, but this is where you would put the actual callback URLs and everything you need. Why is it not working? Oh, I need to select an item type. So this is for a user. So I can actually just be able to say suspend. It's for a user, and we're going to create that action. So now we have some actions here. We have hide post, suspend, and we can go back to our review console, and I'm going to edit this console to actually, we already did hide that. Okay, so we should have enough information coming in. Wait, we're not actually doing anything. We're not actually sending this anywhere. So there should be one more thing we need, which is we need a proactive rule to actually send stuff to our queue, because by default, we don't have anything saying, we have a matching bank for, or sorry, we have a, what do we do here? No, we don't have anything. We didn't create any of this yet. Okay. So we want to create a matching bank so that we can then use it in a proactive rule to send stuff about pets to our queue. So we're going to create a bank. This is going to be pets, I guess. And we're going to say phrases related to common house pets. Again, these are probably horrible examples, but hopefully you can kind of understand how this would work for real trust and safety uses. And this is going to be strings, and this is going to be things like dog. I'm not going to put cat in here because it turns out the word cat is actually a substring of a lot of words, like catch, and it would match in this case. So not the perfect demo, but we could say woof and meow, meow, and bark, and yap, and purr, and kitty. What are other words for dogs and cats? We could also put like hamster in here. Sure, why not? Gerbil. What are fish? I guess fish, goldfish. Basically any words that you want to match. This is one of the simplest types of matching banks. It's just like matching strings, but you can get pretty far with it. So let's see, dog, woof, meow, bark, purr. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's say pause. We also don't want the word pause, or paw. Let's do paw, because that'll be a substring. Sure. We'll create a text bank with that. We're done. And then now we have these text banks for matching things, and we can use them in rules. So proactive rules, we already have a proactive rule. Look at that. We already have 64 posts that were considered not safe for demoing. So I'm glad we did that. We're going to create a new rule to actually send our pet related stuff to our queue. So we're going to say this is going to be our potential pets content potentially related to pets to be reviewed. And we're going to say just posts for now. Yeah, that should be fine. We could put we could filter by usernames and things too. We'll just do posts for a demo. And now our conditions. So how is this rule going to actually run? We're going to say if the text in the post contains a variant of our text bank, we're switching to text bank here. We're going to say pets. And we're also going to say and any text in the item, so that includes like the username and the display name. We're going to say does not contain the text not safe for demo bank. So that should just also help us, because technically proactive rules run in parallel. So we could get a case where something has a pet related word and a word that's not safe for demoing. We don't want those to show up in our pet queue. We want those to only go to not safe for demo. So yeah, if text contains a variant of anything in the pets and it also doesn't include, we don't have a doesn't contain variant. I think it's a little more complicated. We're doing does not contain the text. So that should filter most things out for us. And then what action do we want to happen? So this is where you could automatically action it. But since we're saying, oh, it potentially contains it, text matching isn't always the most accurate. We're going to say we're going to enqueue it for manual review. And the policy is anytime this would fire, it'd be related to the no pets allowed policy. And we'll set it live so we can get started right away. To save your progress, if you're kind of tweaking on things, you can always save it as a draft. Or if you just want to see what would get caught but actually not perform any actions, you can set it as a background. Okay, so we have our rules here. We have not safe for demoing. We have potential pets. And we have our matching banks. We have our actions. Now we have our queue. And look, we already have 2 pending jobs. So there's already data coming in. And again, now that we have data, if we maybe go to the hourly breakdown, again, there's a little bit of a lag with this. This dashboard should start showing up, but the database has not been running for very long. So yeah, we'll go to our queue. We'll actually start reviewing. Hopefully this works. Okay, so there's this word Dogtown in here. That's not actually related to a dog. So if we were curious, we're like, is that related to dogs? We could actually view our policy right here. So up here at top right is view policy, say no pets allowed. And this is where the enforcement guidelines come in. We could say, phrases that include the word dog but aren't related to pets are allowed. So you could review the guidelines there. So we're going to say ignore because this is not violating. And then it will automatically pull up the next job. Okay, so we have cartoon dog. Yep, that's about a dog. So we're going to say hide, post, select no pets allowed as the policy, and submit. Kitty. So we're going to say hide, post, and we're going to say no pets allowed, and submit. And that's all the jobs that we had so far. So from the fire hose, those were real posts coming in from the real fire hose for our demo here. Let's go back to this overview. We've had some actions going. I want this to show up, but it's not. Might have to leave this running for a while and show it later. We can also go to our analytics under the review console and see some information here. Again, this is usually has to be running for more than just a couple minutes, but since I was speedrunning this, I was too fast for the data to actually start aggregating here. Maybe that's a topic I can show next time. But yeah, that is how in under 30 minutes you can get Coop up and running on a Codespace or locally if you just did all these steps on a local machine. And kind of start to get a feel for how it works. I just saw. Here's some data. Yeah. So we have because these are the proactive rules. So it's showing us that 103 were automatically actioned for not safe for demo. 4 of them were queued for manual review. Again, that's with our proactive rule. And then 2 actions were taken, which is our hide post, which is something that we did as we went through the review. Yeah, so you could create more rules, you can create more policies, you can create more review consoles. So if you had different types of policies or different types of reviewers for different types of policies, you could have that all here and you can start demoing. I'm going to call that good for now.